Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope this show finds you in good spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. We got some things we have got to get into. There's a lot of things going on throughout the country right now, nationwide. It has been erupting out here in these streets. Just to be completely real with you guys, there's a lot of coverage that we're going to be doing here. It's not going to be like a super mega long show, but we are going to do as best as we can to do as much coverage on what has happened, what has been transpiring today. There's also been something very tragic that happened earlier today as well, amidst all of these protests and demonstrations that are going on in the streets as well. We're going to be talking about that as well today in this afternoon's Saturday show. Okay, because the news just keeps on newsing. The news don't take no breaks. And these protests are definitely percolating out here in these streets. So let me just hit you guys up with this. Just a simple ask. Please hit that like button down below. Okay, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, make sure you hit that reaction button, of course. But of course, don't forget to follow over there. Okay, hit that follow button over there, please and thank you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel. This is my main platform, so go subscribe over here. Make sure that notification bell is set to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Make sure you go over to my second channel as well, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Hit that notification bell over there as well. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out pascalmerch.com. Okay, you can get hoodies like this, etc. over at pascalmerch.com. So, we got to get into this, guys. We have got to get into this. There's some really crazy stuff going on out here in these streets. It has been absolutely crazy since this morning. Would have been on with you guys earlier, but had things to take care of, had things to do, and was nowhere near my computer or in this studio at all. But nonetheless, we're here to talk about everything that's going on. We got the No Kings protests that are going on throughout the country. Okay, we're seeing a lot of crazy stuff going on in various areas of the country right now. And of course, before we get into like looking at the coverage and all that, there is something else that's part of our top story for today. Okay, something very tragic happened, and it's very sad. Okay, if I'm correct, there was lawmakers that were targeted by a madman, basically. And that actual madman, okay, that trigger man, is allegedly still out on the lam. And apparently he had a list of people that he had targeted for today. Not only just the people that he hit, apparently he had other people on his hit list, allegedly. So, and again, this madman is still out on the lam, okay? He is out on the lam. They still don't know where he is, okay? And yes, we are also getting, allegedly, this particular person is connected in some way to Tim Walz. Okay, let's not forget he was trying to get elected as vice president of these United States with Kamala Harris. Pretty insane stuff. Like I said, we're going to get into all of that stuff and even more because there's so much going on. You got the protests going on, which we are going to explain. We're going to break that down here in just a second. And then we're going to go into our top story today, or one of the top stories. Because, I mean, the main breaking story is the fact that these lawmakers have lost their lives, or at least one lawmaker lost their lives. Another one is still, in the hospital with grave injuries, fighting for their life right now due to this person dressed up as a cop. They were cosplaying as a cop, pulled the trigger on these particular lawmakers, Democratic lawmakers. And of course, one has lost their life, and another one, if I'm correct, is in the hospital fighting for their life. So again, this is some really, really bad stuff. But first, and this all revolves around, and some people are wondering if this has any connection, okay? If this has any connection to what's going on in the streets right now, okay? There is the No Kings protest that is happening right now nationwide, okay? And this is also going on around the same time that it's our President Trump's birthday, okay? There's also, yes, this is all involved with a military parade, etc. It's like a trifecta of different things all happening at the same doggone time. And then you have this No Kings protest happening right now as we speak. Let's not forget, just earlier this past weekend, in fact, okay, there were massive protests happening. It brewed off in LA due to anti-ICE activists and protests that were going on in regards to people getting deported, getting detained, and thrown out of the country. Okay, that was kind of the thing. That was like the straw that broke the camel's back, not the stroke. Hold on. We're not talking about Diddy. Okay, but it was the straw that broke the camel's back, right? There were massive protests that happened throughout that weekend. And let's not forget, not only just protests, but we have to throw in riots as well. Okay, they were absolutely insane out there. Let's not forget that. It's been a wild, wild week. Okay, it has been absolutely wild. Okay, so you have your combinations of protests and riots happening, basically sprinkled throughout the country. Okay, that happened last week. And then it still kind of trickled into the week. And then, we were covering it and keeping an eye on it. And then Thursday just kind of slowed down a little bit, right? Come Thursday, it seems like everybody was tired and they're like, I'm done, right? Then now we are seeing massive turnouts. Now, right now, we haven't seen anything turn into riot type of material, okay? Type of activity. But there are massive amounts of people out in the streets acting a fool, making their voices heard. But so far, it's peaceful from what I've seen so far, except for what happened to these lawmakers that happened earlier this morning, which is absolutely tragic. And remember, all of this is due to change, okay? All of this is subject or has the potential to change over the course of the day. Right now, they're out there, they're banging drums, they're basically saying what they want to say, making their voices heard, which is their legal right, okay? That's their First Amendment right to sit there and say what they need to say, make their voices heard. But as the night goes, this might be a completely different can of worms. So, just so you know, this is what's going on. Protests are happening. But tonight, it could bleed into something very, very intense. All right? So, again, like I said, we're going to get into this No Kings protest, from NPR. Shout out to NPR for this article, breaking down what's actually happening, why everybody is showing up. Because I think that a lot of people are wanting to know, what's the origin story here, right? What is this from last weekend, or is this something completely different? Right? Is it just all people, all forces, all activist groups coming together all at the same time in unison because they've just had enough? I think that's one thing that we're all trying to understand and trying to figure out. Is this fully off of anti-ICE, or is it anti-ICE, LGBTQ plus, BLM. You know what I mean? Throw out everything. You know what I mean? Israel, Palestine. I mean, whatever. You know what I mean? Is it all just a combination of everything all at once? Or is it just all one scene, all one movement, right? That's something that I think all of us are wanting to know. In fact, I want to know too, right? Hence the reason why I'm on live with you guys today, right now, to talk about these things, right? So again, please do me a favor as you start to walk in, hit that like button down below. Don't forget to do that, please, and thank you. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Crush that subscribe button, please, and thank you. And you might have a completely different look come Monday with the stream. I'm working on some things. I mean, it'll look similar, but there's going to be some new things. I have a feeling. I'm working on some things. I think this streaming platform is done. Okay, only for emergencies and breaking news type of stuff. But I'm working on something right now. Burning the midnight oil, trying to get some things. Not the baby oil, okay, but the midnight oil. Okay. No, I'm not throwing out cameras and be like, yeah, do that. Yeah. No, I'm not doing that. Okay. But I am putting some things together so we get a really, really nice, clean, dope stream show for you guys. So get ready. We got some new things coming up next week as well as guests coming onto the show, which I'm very excited about. That should be starting hopefully this coming Monday. So just so you guys know what's going on, okay? But again, hit that like button down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, all right? And of course, Heather, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family, or welcome back. I don't know if you're re-upping again, but I appreciate you. And hey, just like Heather, consider becoming a member. Support the channel if you can. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay, Jasmine, what do you mean? No. This platform, I'm talking about the streaming platform that I'm using. Okay, the StreamYard that I'm using. You know what I mean? Like once that cut out on me during that Diddy trial, that burned my cookies so much that I'm like, you know what? I'm only going to use it when I need it. You know what I mean? If I have to do something really quick, if it's a fast type of situation, okay. No. I'm not done. No. We ain't done with these platforms. You know what I mean? But I was just talking about the streaming platform itself. Okay. I'm trying to give you guys a little bit more professional, a professional, polished show. Okay. And production. All right. Okay. So let's get into this because I know a lot of us want to know what the hell is this No Kings protest all about? Okay. So about 2,000 No King protests are planned today in response to the Trump administration's plans to hold a large-scale military parade this weekend. Yeah, some people are looking at this and going, is this the funny mustache man type stuff, or is it not? That's what some people are feeling. Suddenly, he's going to have a large-scale parade, dun, 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 and everyone's walking down and they're marching. You know what I mean? They're doing their... they're thumping the chest type thing. That's why people are upset. Okay, they're like, nah. This is some dictator type BS. At least that's what people in the streets are saying. Okay, not me. I'm just repeating what people are saying in the streets. So don't at me. Okay. Organizers are accusing the president of putting on the parade as a show of dominance and a celebration of his 79th birthday. 79. That's not an actual term, but 79. He's getting up there, guys. Okay. No, I'm not leaving, Tina. I ain't going nowhere. Okay. I ain't going nowhere. All right. Still here. Still weird. And still here to give you guys the information. All right. So they're saying, like I said, they're saying some dictator type stuff. His 79th birthday, he wants to see him out. He wants to be out there watching the troops, right? Marching down the street, saluting him and saying, love you, Trump, right? Which is also on Saturday. So this is happening, like I said, a trifecta of things, right? And yes, it is Flag Day as well. Let's not forget that. Okay, it is Flag Day. The Army has been planning some form of anniversary celebration for over a year. So, but the parade was a recent addition. It will commemorate the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, and it falls also on Flag Day. A peacetime military parade is rare in the U.S. and has drawn criticism from Diddy. Jesus. Sorry, guys. Diddy's still like right there, the tip of my tongue. That sounds weird too. Oh my God. But it has drawn criticism from Trump's political rivals. All right. So No King's organizers described the protest as a day of defiance to reject authoritarian. I can't even say that word. To reject authority. Okay, I don't know why I can't say that freaking word right now. Okay, but to reject authority. Okay, and show the world what democracy really looks like on their website. So the statement continues. We're showing up everywhere he isn't, to say no thrones, no crowns, no kings. Okay? Yeah, Elise, I've been covering way too much Diddy. It's driving me absolutely freaking insane. But we only got a few more weeks left of that, okay? Trump on Thursday was asked about the protests, and he told reporters, I don't feel like a king. I have to go through hell to get stuff approved. So the demonstrations were put together by a coalition of more than 200 organizations, including the American Civil Liberties Union, American Federation of Teachers, and the Communications Workers of America. Protests are scheduled in every state, but not in D.C., which is interesting. Every other state's going to have them, but not D.C. Instead, organizers are encouraging interested D.C. residents to gather in Philadelphia, the flagship No Kings protest. Philadelphia was America's first capital and was the birthplace of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. So the No Kings protests started after Trump's inauguration in February. So this whole organization became a thing right when he was sworn in as president. They have additionally gathered in protest against the way that the Trump administration has cracked down on on immigrants and cut the federal workforce. According to the organizers' website, the protesters are avoiding the nation's capital to draw a clear contrast between our people-powered movement and the costly, wasteful, and un-American birthday parade in Washington. Okay, so we don't need to know budgets and all that crap. But nonetheless, this is a massive nationwide turnout. Okay, massive everywhere but DC. Everywhere but DC. Okay, which is very, very interesting. So, of course, we got to bring some of this stuff up and talk about a little bit of this really quick before we go in. Excuse me. Before we go into the tragedy, okay, where these lawmakers lost their lives. So let me just pull up this news clip real quick.
Hopefully, things don't end up in a negative manner, and hopefully it's just peaceful.
Well, right now, an estimated 2,000 protests are set to unfold all across the country. What started as unrest in California, it's now spilled nationwide. It's expected to reach us here at home.
Local 10's Leanne Morejon in Coral Springs, where one of those protests is expected. Leanne.
Yeah, and the start time on paper was 9 o'clock, but we saw people here starting to gather as early as 8:15, and I want to show you some of the crowd. We are at the corner of Sample Road and University Drive. These are just some of the people that are in our immediate vicinity. You can probably see there are folks on the other side of the intersection, really every single corner of this intersection. And I also want you to look down the street here where you can see there are dozens and dozens of people. A short time ago, maybe about 10 or 15 minutes ago, I counted about 100, 150 people. And really the crowd keeps growing because they're parking their cars and walking from a couple blocks out to come to this intersection. I want to take you over here because I'm going to introduce you to one of the organizers of this event. This is Christine Bleeker. Sorry, Christine, I'm interrupting you here. I want you to tell our viewers a little bit more about this particular protest because they're happening all across the country. This one's specific to Coral Springs. And so what does it tell you that all these people gathered even before the official start time?
This was amazing. We had a scheduled start time at 9. I got here at 8:30. There was already at least 150 people here. He was the first. Great. So most of the protests
was that a competition? Was that a little dig? Like, hey, I was there way before you. Why are you interviewing this chick? But let's continue. Interesting though, right? People are showing up, right? And I'm telling you right now, the people that are here in the very beginning of in the morning, these are not the people that stick around at night to start to wreak havoc. Okay, these people are going to be there and they're going to do their thing, and then they're going to go home, have a cocktail, and say, "Yeah, I really feel this time that my voice was heard." Yeah. Now I'm going to sit back, enjoy this cocktail, and then go to sleep. But then tonight is when it's all about to go down. That's when everybody and their mama gonna go and lose their doggone minds. These people right here, this ish right here, all the people that show up in the morning, they're doing it like it's their 9 to 5. They're there from 9 to 5, and then they go home. They don't want to get arrested. They just want their voices heard. It's what happens when the lights go down. When the sun goes down, that's when you got to get ready, okay? But it's cool. Like I said, it's cool that people are showing up, showing support, making their voices heard, regardless of what you believe. This is their right. This is dope. As long as it stays this way, this is dope. Let's continue, though.
Are in more metropolitan areas, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and this is a much more accessible way for people to come to a protest and help collectively tell our community and stand with our community, say what is happening is not normal, right? Defying the Constitution is not normal. Treating immigrants without due process is not normal. Taking funds away from Medicaid to throw a military parade, this is not normal. And so we find strength in the collective, and this was just a very accessible way for people who live a little bit more in the suburbs to come together, to see their neighbors, to meet their neighbors. And what I love about this protest is that we're asking everyone to bring donations for a food pantry, local food pantries, because while we are pushing back against the federal government and what's happening, it's really important that we continue to support and bless our own community and actually get to know our own neighbors here.
And Zeke, I want to have you, this is my photographer, Zeke, behind the lens. I want to have him kind of give you a lay of the land, so to speak, so you can see the kind of folks that are here. I apologize in advance if any signs have some naughty language on it. Hopefully those don't end up on camera. But, there are so many of these protests around the country, like you mentioned. And this in an area like Coral Springs is sort of a different experience than, say, downtown Fort Lauderdale or downtown Miami. Yeah. And so what are some of the issues, and you as a longtime Coral Springs resident, what are some of the biggest issues that you think resonate with folks here in this city?
I think just the ultimate, just authoritarian nature of things, doing executive orders, not following the Constitution. I mean, they like to talk about the Constitution. A lot of Republicans we've seen carry the Constitution. I'm an attorney. I actually know what the Constitution says. I actually took an oath to the Constitution, and what is happening is not right and it's not appropriate for the three levers of government. But people are seeing their Social Security in doubt, their Medicaid in doubt, and the way that this country is now treating our neighbors and our friends.
And really quickly before.
So just so you know, like I said, there are massive turnouts everywhere. Even there are people showing up outside the embassy in London, outside the U.S. embassy in London. I mean, this is a massive reaction. Okay, massive. Just wanted to give you guys that update because I'm looking on some things off camera, so I have some things to show y'all. And I'm telling you right now, yeah, this turnout is massive. I just hope, right, that it just stays peaceful. That's it. It does, like I said, it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with what they're out there for. This is their right, as long as it stays peaceful, right? So we'll see, right? We'll definitely see what happens. But again, this is insane. Tonight, Saturday brain, guys. Okay. But tonight might be, it might be nothing, or it could be really something. I'll keep an eye on this for sure. You know what I mean? And I most likely will be back on this evening to watch and cover everything that's going on. But this thing is still percolating out here in these streets. So we're going to be watching this for a minute. Let's go.
Before I let you go, we've obviously seen a presence. We've seen Coral Springs police sort of at each of the corners. I know that you said that you had spoken with the police and kind of what their role is, obviously making sure that counter protesters, that there's no clashes in that way, and also to make sure that things don't get out of hand, so to speak. And so can you talk a little bit about what you've heard about that experience and what the relationship is?
Our relationship with the Coral Springs Police has been wonderful, especially shout out to Officer Pena, who I've been in close contact with over the last couple of weeks. They are here to actually keep us safe. I have told everyone very specifically, this is a peaceful protest. Violence is not going to be tolerated. We are not going to tolerate it. The Coral Springs Police is not going to tolerate it. They are tucked kind of in the back. They have a medic in case we need anything. And they're actually here just to make sure we don't need anything. So it's been wonderful.
Christine, thank you very much for that. We want to tell you on the No Kings website, the official sort of sanctioned protest locations are here in Coral Springs. That's already started at 9 a.m. Downtown Fort.
Yeah, there's obviously massive protests going on everywhere. But of course, I want to share with y'all what I'm seeing here. This is in London, at the U.S. Embassy in London, which is very interesting. But this is the turnout so far. I mean, it's not super massive, but the fact that this is affecting people from across the pond really says something. Let's take a look at this.
The Keir-Starmer hopes Trump will visit this autumn, this year. We must build a movement of movements, a coalition ready to stand up to Trump and show him when he comes to this city, when he comes to this country, who he really is. A tyrant, a fascist. And to show that the people of this country and around the world want to do politics differently. We stand for democracy, we stand for human rights, and for the equality of all. We want to show the UK government that you do not open your arms.
Interesting, though, right? I'm listening to the guy speaking, and I'm like, "Are you American?" But other than that, I mean, he's doing his thing. All right, he's doing his thug thizzle, is he not? Let's continue. We got a lot going on. There's a lot going on everywhere. Okay. Let's take a look at this.
Scores of demonstrations are planned across the country today in opposition of that military parade. It caps off a week filled with protests against federal immigration raids. Los Angeles police chief says demonstrations there today could have an unprecedented turnout. Allie Bauman has been covering these rallies all week and is here now. Allie, good morning.
Good morning, Dana. Organizers say they're expecting hundreds of thousands of people to come out in New York City alone. And there are 2,000 such protests planned across the country today. It's been dubbed the No Kings Day of Action. And these demonstrations were in the works before all the protests we've been seeing throughout the week.
You heard that right. She said all of this was happening. All of this was planned to happen way before the protest that happened last week happened, right? That this was something that was already put in the books. They were talking about this, getting this whole thing put together, ready to go. And then all of a sudden the anti-ICE protests happen and the riots and all that stuff. So it's just crazy how allegedly it's all falling under the same situation, right? All falling on the same day, same situation, which is really, really, really interesting. I got a few things. Hold on, guys. All right. Whoa. Interesting. Okay, hold on, guys. Sorry. Just looking at a few things. Let me play that.
Hundreds of Marines have landed in Los Angeles to guard federal property and personnel. They were deployed there by President Trump this week, along with National Guard troops, despite objections from California Governor Gavin Newsom.
He is not a monarch. He is not a king.
Southern California has been the center of nationwide protests this week over federal immigration raids. On Thursday,
Secretary, I want to know why you insist on...
California Senator Alex Padilla was forcibly removed from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's press conference.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla.
After identifying...
Actually, you know what? And they're saying it right now. I'm sorry. This is something that happened a couple days ago, right? And what's very interesting about this is, you heard him say out loud as he's just walking up asking a question. It's not like he was gesticulating in a violent manner or anything of that sort. I think this was really messed up. I'm sorry, guys. This was uncalled for, in my personal opinion. He's sitting there going, he's stating who he is. He's stating what elected position that he has, and they still detain the dude, right? They still put this guy in handcuffs, which is crazy, in my personal opinion. It's just crazy. But again, this actually happened.
Himself, the senator was forced to the ground and handcuffed.
If this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers.
Secretary Noem said she didn't recognize him.
I wish that he would have reached out and identified himself and let us know who he was and that he wanted to talk.
In New Jersey Friday, protesters jumped in front of a moving van that was relocating detainees from an ICE facility in Newark. Their transfer comes after authorities say 4 detainees escaped by crawling through a hole in the facility's wall.
This is a symbol for the brokenness of the Trump administration plan when it comes to immigration.
With protests planned in just about every major city across the country today,
everywhere,
some businesses in LA are boarding up. And the Republican governor of Texas is stationing thousands of troops across the state. In New York City, where hundreds of protesters have been taken into custody this week alone, the NYPD says it will have thousands of officers on the streets.
New Yorkers may have different emotions right now, and they have a right to express that. But we want to be clear. You do not have a right to engage in violence and lawlessness.
And the organizers of today's protests are encouraging people to rally in every city except Washington, D.C., saying they want to take attention away from the parade. Michelle?
Yeah, which is interesting because, there's a parade, et cetera, that's happening, which we already know. This is also, it's the Army's birthday, the 250th birthday. It's also Trump's, isn't Trump's birthday the 13th? I thought his birthday's the 13th. Of June. But maybe it is. I'm just going to Google it. I just want to make sure I got that right. Hold on. When is his birthday again? He's a Gemini like a mug. Oh, okay. So today is his birthday. Okay. I just want to make sure. I'm like, I could have sworn yesterday was his birthday, but I knew it landed around this time. Okay. But Gemini like a mug. But like I said, celebrating his birthday, the 250th birthday of the Army, You know what I mean? This Flag Day, etc. This is all at the same time, right? A trifecta of everything happening all at the same time. And of course, this is getting people really, really mad, right? And feeling some type of way. Let's take a look at this. We're going to get straight to the up-to-date stuff. And don't worry, we're going to get into the conversation about the lawmakers being, losing their lives and all that, okay? But there is a lot going on right now, okay? So let's take a look at Chicago. We're going to be hopping around a lot. So let's take a look at this.
Themselves.
This is currently right now. This is live.
Recognizing those that are being disruptive and taking this to another level of violence, and actually bringing that to the attention of the law enforcement there. They're absolutely there to protect these.
I'm going to pull it back a little
rights.
bit so you guys can take a look. Holy cow. Okay? Massive turnout, okay? So I pulled it back a little bit, a few minutes earlier because I want you guys to see the turnout. The turnout is massive in Chi-Town right now, okay? Massive, okay? Look at that. I'm going to move it up a little bit. We got reporters, so we're going to get to that too. And honestly, I'm thinking about it. I might go, if it's in my neck of the woods, which clearly it would be because it's everywhere. It's in every city. I might go boots on the ground on this one a little bit later on this afternoon. I don't know yet. You know what I mean? I can't officially say yes or no to it, but I am thinking about it. All right. But I also, if things go sideways, I don't know if I want to get in the middle of that. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I like my life. I got a lot to live for. You feel me? But let's continue.
We are at the fringe of that crowd. It goes all the way west here on Washington, past City Hall, past Daley Plaza. It goes to the north, to Lake Street, and it goes to the south to Monroe. Now, people have been gathering here all morning. We saw this crowd double in size in a matter of minutes, and now it's even grown bigger. Let's take a walk through the crowd. We're going to head through.
Oh, and I'm just going to make it very clear. Me going there is to cover it, okay? That I'm just letting you know. I'd go there and I'd live stream down there, okay? Interview people like I did last time. There was protests that were going on. It was peaceful protests, right? So I went down there to that protest and just interviewed a bunch of people, right? So that's basically it. It would be the same thing, going there, boots on the ground, just staying in the areas that would stay peaceful. But I wouldn't want to be down there when the lights go down or when the sun goes down. Okay, I got things to do. Beautiful messy ball. I would stay home simply for safety. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm gonna see what it's all about. I might go, I might not. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Let's continue. Chicago.
Get up closer to what's happening here. As I said, we're going to be out here all day covering the developments and covering the protest. It has been peaceful so far. Everybody has been doing a nice job of staying calm and supporting their views and opinions.
That's a huge turnout, y'all. This is crazy.
She brought her baby out here. We're going to slide it through here, folks. We're working our way through the crowd. Sam, photographer's behind me. Hey, come on, Sam. So this is kind of what you'd be going through if you were out here right now. That's how packed it is. Just trying to get up here towards the front.
I'd be so nervous about this.
Guys. Doing a report here. All right, so as you can see, people are
like, doesn't anybody think about for 2 seconds what happens out here? Okay. Like the possibility of somebody really bad just going out there and just doing something really bad. They're like, okay, everybody's out there now. You know what I'm saying? Those mass tragedies that happen all the time. That's what I instantly think in my mind. There's plenty of people that get angry, that are upset about things, feel some type of way. Like we hear about these lawmakers that lost their lives, okay, due to some psychopath, okay, writing a list of names allegedly trying to take out these lawmakers. Instantly in my mind, I'm like, aren't there other people that would want to do this to just innocent people, right? I mean, that's what I instantly get worried about when there's a mass group, a mass turnout like this. I just feel like it can inspire people to do some really, really bad things. But that's just to these innocent lives, right? That's just my thoughts on that.
Standing on whatever they can stand on to get a glimpse of what's happening. It is so crowded. Hi, how are you? I mean, this crowd is massive. Excuse me. Tens of thousands.
I'm going to skip ahead.
Possibly. Hey, Sam. Stay with me, buddy. All right, so as we try to make our way to the main stage, and we will get there soon, we're just giving you an idea of how packed it is here, some of the energy around us, and people are coming from all over. As people come from different states to be here today to be a part of this rally, and I'll be out here live the rest of the day. Sending it back to you.
Like I said, the chaos is not going to start.
Interesting points from Dave's report there. You get an idea first of just how crowded it is and how packed in there people are. It seems like once you get to a location, you're probably better off just staying there rather than trying to work your way through the crowd because
yeah, the volume is very, very low. I got it all the way up. It's from them. It's from CBS. Their volume is super, super low. Okay, but as you can see, everything is very, very peaceful now. I don't think chaos is going to happen in the middle of the day. Okay, I'm just going to be real. Like I said, the potential chaos could happen tonight, right?
Head through Block 37 and then out onto Daley Plaza. But that gives you an idea. The stage is set up to the right. You can see the white umbrella on the right of your screen.
Oh, wow.
I know Senator Dick Durbin and Representative Jesus Chu Garcia were scheduled to speak. I'm not sure if that's happened yet, but we are getting reports that this group might be on the move. And we do know from organizers who told us yesterday that they did have a 2-mile march planned starting at around 1 o'clock, which is about now, but this has been running late pretty much all morning. They would not disclose the specific route, but as Dave mentioned in his report, there's some talk that they might be heading to Trump Tower. Let's take a look. I mentioned these protests were happening in our troops.
Moving on.
Decision held up and banned by a federal judge.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to LA yet, y'all. We haven't even gotten to LA yet. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Just give me a second, okay? Because it is massive in LA. Downtown LA is flooded with people, all right? So don't worry. We're going to get to that. And they're still in the morning time over there. Shoot. It's 11:30 in LA. 11:30 a.m. in LA.
And it was appealed to the Ninth Circuit, and it was held at that point. So it is on hold right now, and we will learn more about that decision from the president on sending in the troops.
See, so that's the question too, because right now there's a lot of places that are probably trying to get the National Guard in their cities, okay, or in their states as well. So this is going to be interesting because, again, we have anti-ICE, we have the No Kings protest, all of them happening at the same time. I'm telling you right now, National Guard is going to just be deployed everywhere. They're going to be spread so thin that, you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? Marines are going to be pulled out for everywhere. And that is a recipe for disaster, okay? And that's something that we don't want in this country. We don't want that. If it turns into something volatile, let's just say that again. If it turns into something volatile, just remember that. If they keep it peaceful, we all should be okay. But if it ain't peaceful, National Guard, and if it escalates even more, they can call in more. It's gonna be it'll be a bad situation, right? So and then you got the military parade going on. So majority of them, there a lot of armed forces, at least army-wise, will be in DC. But not everyone, right? Not all of them. So if they need to be deployed, they will get deployed. Trump is not playing, y'all. We already know this. Okay? What happened in LA? They deployed the Marines. Real talk. They were Marines were actually detaining citizens live on camera this past week. Okay? So again, this is not something that we want to have happen. Nobody wants martial law. Yeah, Lisa. Nobody wants martial law. Okay? Nobody does. So again, I hope that this stays very, very peaceful.
Message.
Well, Joe, we are getting ready for a very special day here. The doors open here about 12:30, about a half hour, 40 minutes ago. Now, if you take a look at the stands, people are just now beginning to trickle in. Obviously, you aren't talking about a lot of seats being filled right now because the program really doesn't start until about 2 o'clock, so they do have some time. But I can tell you, the tickets.
Okay, so we don't need to hear all about that. Let's continue. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. All right, let's get straight to the, and don't worry, we'll be
of demonstrations.
Whoa, that's loud. We're going to be coming back to all of that here in just a little bit, but I'm sure we are all wanting to see what's going on in the LA area. There's also stuff that's going on in New York City as well. Like I said, this is quite the turnout. Whoops. This is quite the turnout.
We're getting some of these images there as people are taking to the street. It's not the only place that this is happening as well. Also want to put this up on your screen. This is from Chicago. We just got this shot into our newsroom, so we'll continue to keep our eyes on it. There is some profanity on some of the signage, so we always also want to remind you that viewer discretion is advised. All right, we're going to take this time to slide away for a 2-minute.
Hey, Dylan. Let's do a little orbit if we can.
This is LA.
I read it.
If I'm correct,
more than
this
a
is
couple
LA.
of people axed, and so let's do a little orbit. Take a look around. I don't think anything.
All right. So again, you are taking a live look there in Los Angeles,
Yep.
California. That crowd there as this camera does zoom out. And again, demonstrators are crowding into parks and plazas across the United States today. All of this against President Donald Trump, as officials are urging calm and mobilize National Guard troops ahead of a military parade to mark the Army's 250th anniversary. That also coincides with President Trump's birthday today. Again, that's going to take place a little bit later today in Washington, D.C., and we are going to have that coverage here on Live Now from Fox. However, and it looks like this shot did just change. I'm unsure of which city this is. I'm going to assume it's still Los Angeles.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there.
It is still Los Angeles. Thank you to my producer for confirming that. So this is just another shot here that we are getting in live, raw, and unfiltered on Live Now from Fox. So as we're taking this look here in Los Angeles, I did want to share with you what we know just about some of the other protests that we are seeing. In Atlanta, there was a 5,000 capacity No Kings rally, which quickly reached its limit with thousands more demonstrators outside the barrier in front of the state capitol and a handful of counter-protesters leaving before the rally finished. We also know over in Pennsylvania, intermittent light rain fell as sign-carrying marchers gathered for the flagship rally in Philadelphia's Love Park. We have been seeing, again, these popping up across the country. Charlotte, North Carolina as well. Crowds were cheering. There were anti-Trump speakers that were chanting, "We have no kings." People are gathering in front of the Los Angeles City Hall. Many are carrying American flags as well. Protests are planned in nearly 2,000 locations across the country. And I also did want to share with you, we are hearing live right now out of Washington, D.C., out of one of these protests. We are actually hearing a speaker, so I'd like to head over there and listen in.
They are moral values that can unite us and connect us to the best of who we are and keep us from ever bowing to a wannabe king. So today, we demonstrate with amazing clarity and speak the truth with strength. And the truth is, Donald Trump's regime is not illegally deploying American troops on U.S. soils because he's strong. He's abusing his authority as commander-in-chief trying to pick a fight on America's streets because his agenda is incredibly unpopular. His political positions and his claims are weak and failing and contrary to our moral values. The truth is, you are the strength of America. He said he could end conflicts in other parts of the world with a phone call, but wars of aggression rage on. He said he could unite us. We're more divided. He said he was going to stand up for working people, but he handed the government over to a billionaire before their big bad breakup. He said he'd bring prices down, but his wild talk about tariffs has created economic uncertainty. He said he could deal with Gaza and deal with Ukraine, and things have gotten worse. He said his budget was big and beautiful, but the truth is it's big and greedy and ugly and destructive and deadly to the most vulnerable. Ezra joined us last week as we've been gathering for Moral Mondays in D.C. since this big, ugly budget bill has been before Congress. They have arrested us, but they've not stopped our prayers or our prophetic critique to arrest the consciousness of America. Americans are learning the details of how this big, ugly, deadly, bad bill would kill tens of thousands of people in our communities by stripping health insurance from 15 million Americans, closing hospitals, slashing nutrition assistance programs, leaving millions of hungry children, cutting thousands of jobs supported by green energy crisis. And according to a report from the public health scholars at Yale and the University of Pennsylvania, the cuts to health care alone would kill 51,000 Americans next year. And the more people learn about its details, the less popular Trump's signature legislation becomes law, and his attempt to move more money from the poor and working poor to the wealthy than was transferred during chattel slavery. And because of this, you cannot be silent, and the cries of the people will not be silenced. That is why this regime is in panic, and when an authoritarian is weak, he will do anything to get attention. But we don't have to give Trump and MAGA what they want.
We're going to stop there because there's a lot more going on. I mean, that's a speech that happened a little bit ago. I'm going to pause that there. We're going to come back to that, okay? Because we still have a bunch of live coverage going on all all over the place. So, like I said, we gonna look at some things, all right? We got a lot to look at. So let's take a look. And these are some of the things that just happened earlier today. Like I said, just doing as much catch up as we can as far as what has been going on out here as of late. So let's continue looking at a few more things. Here's a reporter, boots on the ground in downtown LA. Can't hear you.
People are here at this protest, and I kind of want to show you a picture of what it looks like. Both of the protesters stretch on both sides of Ocean Boulevard here in Long Beach.
Wow.
And you can see them holding up their signs, waving their flags, and the cars that are passing down along Ocean Boulevard, they're honking in unison. You can read everyone's signs. They're out here all in support and solidarity to kind of give you an emotion of how these protesters are feeling right now. I want to bring in Bob Bullock. He's from Long Beach. He came to this protest earlier this morning. Bob, what brings you out here today?
I want to save our democracy. We are sliding towards autocracy at an alarming rate, and we need to make sure that this country stays the same, safe for all Americans, not for just a certain chosen few.
And what message do you want to get across?
This is our country. We don't report to the government is ours. We vote for them. And hopefully they do what we need to do. They need to be done. You can't run this country with a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing, and that's what we've got right now.
And you're from Long Beach, seeing this crowd this size and everyone in support of the same thing. What's that like?
It's wonderfully encouraging to see these people, because you think that you're kind of an island off by yourself, but look around. I'm not an island, so it's wonderful.
All All right, Bob. Thank you so much. And Jerry and Sophie, we were told this protest was supposed to end at 11 a.m. But as you can see, the crowd is picking up. More people are arriving, so it's not ending anytime soon. But
Yeah, this is so out of focus. It's crazy. But I mean, this is what we get as far as the quality. I mean, let's be real, right? There is they said, oh yeah, that this was supposed to end at 11 a.m., right? This protest was supposed to end at 11 a.m. and it's still going on right now. It is 11:30, 11:40 right now, 11:40, 11:38 a.m. over there. It was supposed to already be done. They're supposed to be wrapped up and leaving right now. And they're still showing, people are still showing up more and more and more. Again, this could get very bad, or it could stay exactly how it is right now, where they're just honking horns, they're shouting, and that's it. So we're going to see, like I said, the day is still very, very young. Okay. And it is Saturday. Okay. Let's be real. It's a Saturday night. Okay. Some people would be like, hey, I got time. Tomorrow is Father's Day. All we're going to be doing is doing a cookout in the backyard. F it. You know what I mean? I could sleep off the whole thing, right? So yeah, this is going to be very interesting.
for now, I'll send it back to you guys.
Yeah.
Amanda.
These things are building on each other all around. Amanda, thank you.
Grand Park in front of City Hall. That's on the right side of your screen there. You see the 101 freeway. And then they came down Broadway and they go over to 5th Street, and it looks like they're headed towards Pershing Square. But look at how many people are flooding downtown Los Angeles. As I mentioned before, you get about 50,000 people at Dodger Stadium. And I believe we have at least that many here now. So the chief talked about tens of thousands, and certainly that is the case. But we're only 11:15. If this draws out into the afternoon and more people come, we can have almost all the roadways flooded here around this area in the heart of downtown LA. Now, if you're going to head this direction, the freeways are fine. I can see it out my window. You really can't. But the 101 freeway and the 110 freeway aren't really affected. There's just so many people who got into downtown Los Angeles. Look at that flood of people on all these surface streets, Jory and Sophie. It's quite remarkable. You know, we really didn't know exactly what to expect on how many people were going to turn out today, but certainly we could tell now it is going to be a huge crowd, and it's continue to grow.
Look how, geez Louise, look how massive this one is. Okay, that's what Diddy said too. One on many a freak night, but still, wow, this is a lot of people in LA. Man, I hope this stays peaceful.
One thing, you know, if this continues later into the evening, it's going to be extremely challenging. At 8 o'clock, the curfew goes into effect. And if you have a lot of people in downtown who refuse to leave, that could be a big problem for law enforcement as well. So we know we have the National Guard out here. LAPD's on a citywide tactical alert. LA County Sheriff's Department and a multi-agency operation is
with
involved in this,
Trump,
as well as the CHP getting ready to shut down any on and off ramps to the freeway if the crowd would try to get onto the freeway. But certainly it is a flood of people down here, and I'm kind of surprised to see this many people gather so quickly compared to what we saw, say, at 9:30, and then all of a sudden it quadrupled or even more. So it's certainly an extremely large crowd.
Thank you. So we've shown you.
And Estes, thank you so much. There is an 8 p.m. because they knew, I mean, at least in LA, like in most Democratic cities, right? In most of the blue cities, there are going to be massive turnouts like this. Absolutely. Massive. So, of course, they're going to be putting, especially LA has been dealing with some craziness. It's been dealing with some riots and all that. Okay. So, of course, they're going to, enact or, activate that 8 p.m. curfew again. Okay. But it's still very, very young. The day for them in LA is still very young. Like I said, it's not even noon yet. So there's still a possibility that all these people will be done, tired, dehydrated, overheated, wanting to go home way before 8 p.m. strikes, right? So we'll see what happens, but diggity damn. Okay? The day is still very young. I'm going to move ahead, though, because there's a lot still going on. And they're dealing with, like, man, this is a massive turnout. Massive. This is like a minute and a half behind the live, just so you know. So let's take a look at this. And still, this is massive. Look at that, guys. There's no sound of this, at least for right now. But this turnout is crazy. Yeah. Delane, sorry. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Yeah, it's Saturday. Okay. So people got time. If this was a Sunday night or a Sunday, or if this was on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, the people are gonna be like, yo, I got things to do. My kid got summer school. I gotta go to work. Butt crack early in the morning. I got things to do. But this is Saturday. Okay? It's Saturday. Saturday's that night, it's all right for fighting. You know what I mean? So you never know. You just never know. So, yeah. And it's still going on, baby. It's still going on. Yeah, you do have Father's Day. Nicole B's like, Father's Day. Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, some people are like, F that Father's Day. I'll just send him a tie or some tube socks and he'll be happy. Okay? Just saying. Still Saturday. Or they're planning on doing something for the dad and it ain't for much later, not till much later on a Sunday afternoon, right? Oh, we're just going to do a simple cookout in the backyard. All I got to do is show up and give him a hug, give him a pat on the back and say, thanks for making me. You know, you were there. You were there. And then just leave. You know, some of y'all don't show no love to your papas. Okay? Daddies don't get the credit that they should be getting. You feel me? Just saying. Okay? So, I highly recommend you guys, okay, if you are out there and you're watching this show and you're protesting, hey, how about you just go do your protesting peacefully, go home, get up decently early, like a decent time, and just spend as much time as you can with your dad, right? Don't give him no ties. Don't give him the macaroni ties. I'm done. Okay? Don't give him no like, you know what I mean? No tube socks. Okay? Hand him a beer and go, happy Father's Day, Pops. You know what I mean? Give him a handshake and a good hearty hug and say thank you. And you know what? Some of us like Gucci. Some of us like Versace. Some of us like flowers too. What about those dads that want some flowers? You know what I mean? You know, just saying. Just a thought. We did more than just thrust, okay? We do more than just that. We did more than just fertilize an egg, dagnabbit. Show some love. Okay? Fathers matter, damn it. Yes, they do. Okay? Just saying. Let's continue on, though. We got more to talk about. I see people don't like when people talk about Father's Day. It's okay. See, that's the problem now. See, that's the problem. And also, shout out to all you dads out there that also wear the mama hat too. Yeah. Out here being Mr. Mom, okay? Let's be real, okay? So, shout out to them too. All right? Let's continue on, though. But in all seriousness, okay? Happy Father's Day to everybody, okay? I mean, I probably won't be on tomorrow, so happy Father's Day to every single last one of y'all. But at the same time, I might be on tomorrow if this thing continues tomorrow as well. I mean, anything's possible, right? But let's continue on. Let's see what's going on here. LA Times. Take a look at this. I'm just saying. They are speed running this live. That's interesting. Why did they do that? Where is my mouse? There it is. But as you can see, I mean, there's a lot of turnout. Take a look at this.
Divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united. Constitution. Defend the 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 Constitution.
Yeah. I guess the protesters need to eat. You know, they all hungry at some point. You feel me?
So to our brothers and sisters who are facing this injustice, I want you to know that my community stands with you, despite what you may hear from a few voices out there. We are in this together.
This is on repeat. Just so you know, this is all like regurgitated repeat stuff. Hold on. We're going to continue on. Protests in Denver. This is happening in Denver right now. Denver, Colorado. Check that out. Protests are happening everywhere, as we already know. Okay. But this is some serious stuff going on. I'm checking X to see if there's anything going on here too. Just give me a second. Just to see if there's any updates. I guess Bernie Sanders was out there speaking to about 500 people on today. Massive turnout in Philadelphia. There's protests demonstrating in Germany, of all places, which is also very interesting. Oh, wow. This is crazy. Well, I wonder. Man. But let's continue on. There's more.
Here to talk to you about Democrat Republicans. Let me tell you, I get these questions from young people all the time.
Detroit.
Are we doing enough? No. But no one is doing enough in the establishment, political establishment. You know that too. That's why you all doing what you're doing and resisting in the streets and demanding that our families stick together, demanding that our rights be protected, demanding that our country come back for the people, by the people. It's when you all resist. I know it's been incredibly painful and overwhelming. The one thing I've learned growing up in the most beautiful, blackest city in the country. I mean, we birth movements. If there's any city that's going to end fascism, it's Detroit. I want them to try to come here and tell us what to do and see what happens. We're not going to turn our back on our Constitution and the rights of our neighbors, no matter their immigration status. The constitutional rights and the due process of our immigrant neighbors are our rights. When you step on their rights, you're stepping on all of our rights. And I want you to know this is the corporations funding it. There are corporations benefiting from this fascist government. Every time we go and send bombs to kill children in Gaza, somebody's making money from it.
continue in our country, guess what? Somebody is making money every time we get sick. Every time they continue to say, climate crisis, there ain't no climate crisis. Guess what? Marathon Oil, U.S. Steel, all these companies are the ones making money by allowing the status quo and allowing somebody like Trump and his minions to continue to deregulate and make sure that they have permission to pollute and poison our air and poison our water. So I want you to know, pay attention of who's funding this fascist regime, who's funding these members who will not take the courage to choose their people and the residents that sent them there to Congress. And they're choosing, again, greed and profit in their donors. I see it every single day. It is exhausting to watch them gaslight and mislead the public and say this is for the good of the people. No, it isn't. You all know it, and guess what? Your own people are rising up and saying, this is not what I voted for. But I want you to know, dissent in our country is a value that needs to be cherished and protected. And you all in this park, in Clark Park right now, you are dissenting. You are dissenting and you're saying not on our watch. Be proud of that. Be proud of that. As I look around all of you, I remember what Pastor Bland Jr., black pastor in my district, reminded our country is not divided but disconnected. When I look at all of you, you don't have to have a zip code in Detroit to understand that fascism hurts all of us. Many of you have your stands and why you're here. Maybe immigrant rights, maybe free Palestine, may it be LGBTQ, may it be fighting to make sure workers are protected, may it be saying you will not dismantle education in our country, may it be whatever issue. The more we are connected, the more dangerous we become to this administration.
Okay, we're going to pause that. Okay. We got more we're looking at. Okay. We got more to look at. Yeah, besides that's going to NBC LA. Let's take a look at this. Because we still also Star Fury, I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Heading to DC now for the parade. Well, enjoy the parade. Hopefully it ends and it turns out to stay peaceful, right? Because I have a feeling like just because everybody's over there doesn't mean that there's not going to be people radicalized or upset in some sort of way, wanting to do something dangerous or violent. You know what I mean? So regardless, wherever you end up going, if you decide to go to the military parade, okay, to celebrate the 250th birthday or the anniversary of the military, by all means, you know what I mean? Do it. If you're going to go out to any neck of your woods to protest, go ahead and do it. All I ask is for you guys to be safe. Okay. That's all I care about at the end of the day. But I want to share this with you guys so you guys can see this. I mean, that's a very loud buzzing, but, I mean, as you can see, this is Studio City in LA. So again, there's a lot of turnout going on for sure. Okay. But in the meantime, because we're going to come back to all this stuff, trust me, but there is a lot of information that I haven't gotten a chance to give you guys about these lawmakers that actually lost their lives. Now, what's happened, and of course, this is part of one of the top stories of the day. I mean, there's a lot going on. The top story is the massive protests that are happening throughout the country. Let's not forget that. But one thing's for sure, there is something that ended deadly today. Okay, lawmakers lost their lives to a man that was impersonating a cop. He pulled the trigger on these individuals. When we reported it, when we talked about it earlier today, they said that there was one lawmaker that is still in the hospital, I guess, fighting for their life. Another one lost their life due to this person, this monster, okay, dressing up as a cop, and then, of course, taking lives or trying to take the lives of these specific lawmakers. There's a lot of information revolving around this particular person. The person has been identified. They say that this person had some sort of list on them and a manifesto as well. So there's a lot of things to talk about when it comes to this. So let's talk about this really, really quick, because like I said, the protests are still protesting. It's still going on, but this is also an important and tragic situation for sure. Right now, unless they have changed the updates right now, this particular person, this assailant, is still out on the lam. They don't know where this person is, okay? They don't know where this person is. So let's look at this. And yes, I agree with what Sandy G just said. Yes, speak with your voices. You have a right. Speak with your voices, not with weapons, not with your fists, okay? Speak and express yourself through your voice. That's the one thing that we have, and I believe it is the most powerful thing. I truly believe that, okay? Regardless of what you think, okay? So again, just do it peacefully, guys. So let's take a look at this. Frantic hunt for a gunman after Democratic lawmakers are hit, we got to use these code words, okay, at their homes in targeted attacks. So a Minnesota lawmaker was unalived and another wounded early today in what authorities believe were targeted attacks at the homes of the Democratic state officials. So State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, were unalived when the gunman impersonating a police officer arrived at their Brooklyn Park home at around 3:35 a.m. So early, very, very early this morning, this dude just shows up and just starts pulling the trigger. And this is what, Governor Tim Walz is revealing in a press conference that happened earlier today. Okay, we're here today because an unspeakable tragedy has unfolded. This is what Walz said. State Representative Hortman, a Democrat, was taken out. Okay, and her husband was also taken out as well. State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were also hit multiple times in their home as well, but underwent surgery and remain in critical condition. And this is, of course, according to Governor Walz as well. Local police, sheriff deputies, and the FBI have since launched an extensive manhunt as authorities say multiple triggermen could be at large. Okay. During a Saturday morning press conference, officials say they are investigating the possibility of multiple people. Okay. But obviously this has changed as of yet. Okay. However, no one, and still to this day, even though that they've identified this particular individual, they are now saying that that person's still on the run. They still have not detained that person. There's a manhunt going on right now. It is in full effect, trying to get this assailant in custody. Okay. They said the suspect's vehicle contained a manifesto with a list of targets. Like I said, a list of targets, including both lawmakers. So he had a list of people that he wanted to go in and do bad things to. Okay. The first tragedy, okay, occurred just after 2 a.m. at Hoffman's home in Champlin, okay, about 20 miles away from Minneapolis. Hoffman and his wife were hit multiple times, which we already knew. The second house was hit, okay? The second attack happened around 4 a.m., all right? And then, of course, that was in Brooklyn Park's residence 8 miles south. So after that tragedy, police engaged one of the suspects in a gunfight on the street. So they were out there. They got close to this assailant, and apparently he got away by shooting back at the police. So Drew Evans, the head of the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, confirmed that the suspect escaped during a firefight, and is still on the run. This is the wildest thing I've ever heard. Okay? Governor Walz, right here. I've activated State of Emergency Operations Center. Local law enforcement in Champlin and Brooklyn Park have the full resources of the state of Minnesota behind them. We're monitoring the situation closely, and we will share more information very soon. And look at that. That's what was allegedly found in this man's car. Which is very interesting if you really think about it. Think about it for a second. This whole No Kings movement, right? This whole No Kings protest, okay, that's happening throughout the country right now. It's all pretty much liberal going against a conservative president, right? You know what I mean? We're I think it's safe to say that we're all thinking that, okay, clearly there are people out there that a majority of people that are out there are pretty blue. You know, they're Democratic. They're not Republican. If the rumors are true, if the information is true about this particular assailant was allegedly blue, allegedly a Democrat. But he's going out and taking out Democrat lawmakers. Why? And then you see these No King things written allegedly in his car. It does make you wonder, right? It does make you wonder. Like, is this a setup? Is this a cover up? Or, you know, and I understand everybody's subject to change their political views easily, okay? But at the same time, it is interesting. Because if it's true that this guy used to work for or work closely or in the same vicinity, at least, as Governor Tim Walz, then why would he, if he's a No Kings, like, you know, protester guy, why would he go and take out Democratic lawmakers? That's the piece that doesn't make sense to me. But let's continue on. That's just something I'm just like, wait a second. Is this some sort of cover up? Did they plant that evidence there to make it seem like it's something that it's not? I don't know. It just throws me off. But again, everyone's subject to change. We've seen plenty of people that were hardcore red go blue and seen people who are hardcore blue go red. You know what I mean? We've seen it. Okay. But let's continue. So at a press conference Saturday morning, the Minnesota State Police or Patrol urged people in the state not to attend the planned anti-Trump protests until the suspect or suspects in this situation were actually apprehended, fearing that the demonstrations could be targeted. I'd be concerned about that too, understandably. Authorities shared an image on social media showing flyers for the No Kings rallies planned to coincide with Trump's birthday parade, which they said they found in the vehicle believed to be linked to this tragedy. But again, you know, some people are looking at that and going, wait a second. They probably planted that so that they can maybe get less people showing up to the rallies out there because, you know, they're just trying to throw things off, right? That maybe the No Kings rallies stuff is a plant, right? That was planted. Okay, because it is very strange that this would be found in his car just like that. It is weird, especially that he's taking out Democratic lawmakers. That doesn't make any sense. You'd think that he would be taking out Republican lawmakers, not like what some would consider an ally to the Democratic Party, right? That just doesn't make sense. Okay? Just very strange. Let's continue on, though. So we do know that one of the lawmakers lost their lives. Okay, so Melissa Hortman lost her life. Okay, John Hoffman, State Senator John Hoffman is hurt, but he's apparently fighting through this. Okay, so a Minnesota state rep and her husband were shot and, of course, lost their life. A state senator and his wife were hit and wounded in an act of targeted political violence, okay, at their homes early Saturday. A manhunt is underway for the gunman who was impersonating a police officer. This particular monster attacked by knocking on the doors and asking the victims to come out, the police said. So again, some crazy stuff. Okay. They're saying that this situation happened was a politically motivated assassination. She was a formidable public servant. This is what Tim Walz said of his friend. She was irreplaceable. And of course, Hoffman and his wife both hit multiple times. They underwent surgery. We're cautiously optimistic they will survive this attempt. The two locations were only a few miles away from each other. Okay. And we already knew, like, it started at 2 a.m. this morning, and the other one was at 3:35 a.m. this morning as well. So yeah, not very far from each other. He took one out, then drove down. It looks like he maybe waited for just to see if there was going to be some sort of reaction from police or something like that. I don't know. And then he went to that next house, and then he attacked and, of course, pulled the trigger on that house as well. Let's take a look at this over here at ABC 7. Let's take a look.
Breaking news in Minnesota. 2 state lawmakers have been shot.
According to ABC News, their conditions are grave. State Senator John Hoffman and State Representative Melissa Hortman were shot at their homes, and authorities believe the shooter was impersonating law enforcement.
Crazy.
Governor Tim Walz posted on X saying, "I've activated the State Emergency Operations Center. Local law enforcement in Chaplin and Brooklyn Park have the full resources of the state of Minnesota behind them. We are monitoring the situation closely and will share more information soon." So again, 2 state lawmakers have been shot in Minnesota. We're going to stay on top of this breaking story and bring you updates as soon as they come into our newsroom.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy to think that any of this actually went down the way it went down. Obviously, there's a lot more information here that's going on, but of course, we're going to look at everything that we can revolving around this. I think this is just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Of course, they have found certain things, revolving around this, more information. So we are going to take a look at that too. So again, they're saying that they found a manifesto. Okay. And it was found in his vehicle after he went and took the lives of these lawmakers. So hundreds of law enforcement officers are searching for a suspect wanted in this tragedy, okay, of these 2 lawmakers, okay? And this all happened this morning. So Minnesota Governor Tim Walz called this attack, okay, politically motivated. And that's what he said at this press conference. So what we know that these 2 individuals, Hortman and Hoffman, okay, state rep Hortman and state representative or state senator, Hoffman, were both hit. Of course, Hortman lost her life, including her husband. All right. Tim Walz calls this situation, of course, politically motivated. And a manhunt is still underway right now. Okay. So that's a question I'm kind of curious about as well. How did they know to go to Melissa Hortman's home, in which this is where this gunfight happened, right? So they said that the department assisted the Chaplin Police Department, and an intuitive sergeant decided to check Representative Melissa Hortman's home in Brooklyn Park to be proactive. That's weird. What would make them go, crazy that this happened to Senator Hoffman. Maybe I should go check out Representative Hortman's home really quick, because I got a strange feeling. I got an inkling that something wrong is going down. Let me go over there really quick and see how they're doing. Ding dong. Oh, snap. Something bad happened here. Doesn't that seem a little weird? It's very weird. But okay. That officer and his partner noticed the police vehicle in the driveway of Hortman's home with emergency lights on, and what appeared to be an officer at the door leaving the house. Let me repeat this again. Don't you think that's a little weird? Let me repeat that one more again. So a tragedy happens. Of course, Hoffman and his wife are still alive, but a tragedy happens. They're over there looking at that house and looking at that situation. And then out of nowhere, another sergeant goes, I just feel it in my bones to go over and check out Representative Melissa Hortman's home in Brooklyn Park right now. Yeah, I think I should go over there and check it out. Hey, partner, let's go and check it out. Shall we? Just have this intuitive feeling, okay? They go over there. They see a cop car with the lights on in the driveway. Then they see a police officer walking out of the house. This guy, right? And that's when they apparently immediately fired this particular person that was dressed as an officer, immediately fired upon the officers, who also exchanged gunfire as well. Isn't that a little weird? Yeah. And Nicole B, he was just blessed by the Holy Spirit, and he suddenly just went, whoa, we need to go over to Representative Hortman's home right now. Something weird is going down. Isn't that a little weird? That's weird, y'all. That's weird. Okay. Unless he's psychic. Okay. That seems a little weird. The suspect ran back into the home after that. Okay. Is the suspect a real police officer? They said the suspect is not a real officer, which we already know about that. Okay. But just to bring it all the way home. Okay. Just to make sure y'all know, even in the nosebleed seats, this particular person was impersonating a police officer. This is what they're saying. This is someone that clearly had been impersonating a police officer, again, using the trust of this badge and this uniform to manipulate their way into the home. And let's not forget as well, he was driving a police vehicle. That is insane. Homeboy was driving a police vehicle, unless he put on fake stickers and stuff like that and dressed up a car to make it look like a cop car. So he must have stolen the car, or something's weird here, right? And if you got a cop car that's stolen, wouldn't that be reported immediately? Wouldn't that be? Don't they got LoJack on these mother-loving vehicles too? Again, like I said, it's not. I don't have all the answers. Okay, I'm just asking all the questions because a lot of this just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Okay, absolutely. Where did it go? Absolutely phenomenal. Okay, it's like he's suddenly this intuitive sergeant is related to Miss Cleo. Come get your free reading. Man be over there at Representative Hortman's house. Bomba clot. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? It just makes no earthly sense. Suddenly, his spidey sense went off. Okay? And he's like, wait a second. We must go to Hortman's house. It just doesn't make any sense. So that seems fishy. Because I'm sure there's plenty of other representatives in the area, okay, that are around in the area, and he decided to go straight over to Hortman's house? That's weird. Did he pick up his magic 8-ball and go, should I go to this representative's home? Outcome, whatever. Outcome not likely, or whatever the hell the options are in the magic 8-ball, right? He's like, well, never mind. I'm ignoring that. We're going over to Hortman's house right now. Just doesn't make sense, guys. Okay? What kind of vehicle was the Minnesota suspect driving? Okay? They said that he was driving what looked exactly like an SUV squad car equipped with emergency lights. Okay. He was also wearing a vest, badge, and taser. So he was suited fully, head to toe, cosplaying like a mother-loving cop. Now, again, let me just say this again. It is very possible that he could have picked up, like, went online, found online the standard issued lights. I mean, you know, you can definitely go get a Ford SUV, a black or white Ford SUV, Okay, a Ford. What is it? I forgot what it's called. The typical standard cop vehicle that they have. It's a Ford something, right? Usually, unless you're in like Italy, they're driving Mercedes. But other than that, in America, it's Ford. It's a Ford something. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, so it's I think it is a Ford Explorer. Okay, so it's really easy for him to go buy a used Ford Explorer. Okay, or if he's balling, a brand new one, right? Either black or white. You can definitely get stickers and whatever to put on the sides of cars to make it look like it's a cop car, and then you can go online and buy the standard, a standard replica of police lights, right? That's possible. So he could have put this whole thing together himself, straight up cosplaying this thing, or he straight up stole that mother-loving vehicle. But then that makes you wonder how long, if he stole that vehicle from police, why wasn't it ever reported that it was stolen? Okay. And yeah, they do really do sell used cop cars as well, but with all the decal taken off, right? So again, he can still do that too. Okay. So again, it's very, very weird. Okay. And yes, we already have the name. Okay. Like I said, the suspect is on the run, but that suspect has been identified. We are going to get into that in just a minute. Just giving you guys the groundwork before we get into that. Okay. So they said authorities have the suspect's car, so he is now on foot. He warned people in Brooklyn Park to call 911 if a police officer comes to their door, as they shelter in place to confirm it is in fact an officer. Officers have questioned several people, but again, this is not an officer. He is not a cop. Okay. So they authorities have people in interest who they are looking for, but did not reveal any additional information about who that person is. Was there a manifesto at the scene? Okay. So when we did a search of the vehicle, there was a manifesto that identified many lawmakers and other officials. We immediately made alerts to the state, who took action on alerting them and providing security where necessary. Okay, so we got some more information here. Like I said, suspect has been identified as this individual. Okay, so this guy apparently was a former appointee of Governor Tim Walz. And I'm telling you right now, that's insane as well. So a former appointee of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is being sought in connection to the assassination of these lawmakers and the attempted taking of the life of another. Okay. So Vance Luther Bolter, Vance Luther Bolter, okay, is his name. Allegedly posed as a police officer when he took the life of he severely injured Senator John Hoffman and his wife, okay, then leaving them seriously injured before moving on to former Democratic House Speaker Melissa Hortman's house, where he's believed to have taken her life and her husband's life. Okay, this is the guy right here. Allegedly, this is the man, the suspect, Vance Bolter. Vance Bolter is the man's name. So he was appointed by Walz in 2019 to serve a 4-year stint on the governor's Workforce Development Board, documents show. He previously served on the governor's Workforce Development Council in 2016 under Governor Mark Dayton. This, of course, is Melissa Hortman and her husband. Both have lost their lives. May they rest in peace. This is not the way to go. But let me tell you right now, this is his face. So if you're in the Minnesota area, soak this face in, take it in, and keep safe, because this man is at large. He is definitely a person of interest, and due to being connected to taking the lives of Hortman and her husband. Okay. And then, of course, severely hurting the Senator Hoffman as well. Okay. So he had flyers with the words "No Kings" in his car, a reference to today's protests that are going on against the Trump administration, as well as a manifesto and a list of other politicians' names, said the police, who briefly cornered the assailant at Hortman's home before this suspect actually fled. Okay? I'm telling you right now, this is some pretty crazy stuff. Okay? I'm going to put his face, this is what he looks like smiling. Okay? And in fact, this is what he looks like in dark clothing. Because remember, if he's dressed up as a cop, if he's still in a cop uniform right now, just take this in. This could very well be what he looks like without the, obviously he's not wearing a coat and a beanie, but I'm just saying the dark clothing, right? So imagine him actually wearing like, a cap and a full-on uniform, cop uniform. And then, of course, this is what he looks like right here. And again, I'm still wondering why. You know what I mean? I think that's the main question. The main focus is why he did this, right? So don't worry, we're going to get into that here in a second, but pretty insane. Let's take a look at this here real quick.
News just into the newsroom. Thank you so much for your reports. We understand AP is now naming a suspect in this case. They're saying it's 57-year-old Vance Bolter. And again, that is coming from the AP, relying on their sources. And NBC and the AP are two sources that we usually feel comfortable sharing what they're reporting as vetted to a level that is accurate.
That makes total sense. I mean, Associated Press is highly revered and highly respected. So it does make sense that they would wait to get it from other sources other than just like online, like YouTubers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because rumors will fly like crazy for sure. Let me just pull this up here, scoot up a little bit more so we can get straight into the conversation.
Check in with her. Sammy, what do you know?
Well, first of all, I just want to show you what's behind me. This is the scene of Representative Melissa Hortman's home. Investigators, they are still here. You see the flashing lights, and we have seen folks just kind of go in and out of that area all day. We know the details, or a few details, of what happened early this morning after that suspect shot Hoffman and his wife, then came here to Brooklyn Park. Around 3:30, Brooklyn Park came to just check up on their lawmaker due diligence. And that is when they found a police vehicle that appears to, at least a car that appeared to be a police vehicle. And they found a man wearing what looked like police gear in the doorway. Shots were exchanged, starting with that suspect.
I feel like it's from a scene from like House of Cards or something like that. You know what I mean? Like some sort of like dark political drama of some sort. You feel me?
Away, and police, they are still looking for him now. Now, we do know police, they are still actively searching this area. We have seen a very quiet neighborhood this morning, this afternoon. And Mitchell, if you want to go ahead and let's take that camera off the tripod so we can just kind of show you a little bit about how quiet everything looks like right now. So apart from the occasional person maybe letting their dog out, something like that, folks are staying inside most of the time. Front doors, you can see that there's some blinds that are drawn. Law enforcement, they are still in the area, and there is still a very, very active door knocking situation. Police are asking people to only open their doors if it's officers in pairs of 2. That's very important. They do not want people to open their doors if there is just one officer, as they are still on the lookout for that suspect. That's very important to note. If you have any uneasiness at all, you can call 911. There's certainly heavy law enforcement in the area. We also know that there are officers that have been going through this area in tactical gear as well. So they have vests, they have heavy guns, and it looks as though they're preparing to potentially just, if there is a situation where they need that, they're ready.
Now, something tells me that he's long gone from that area. Okay. The dude's long gone from that area. That's just what I truly think. Of course, I could be wrong, but that's just the vibe.
Yeah, Julie, in the last 30 minutes, the Associated Press is reporting the suspect police are looking for is 57-year-old Vance Bolter, as I believe it's named. Vance Bolter. This is a picture of that suspect from the Associated Press. The AP says 2 people familiar with the matter identified him as the suspect. The people could not publicly discuss details of the ongoing investigation, and they spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity. Earlier today, police announced that he is a white male with brown hair wearing black body armor over a blue shirt and blue pants, and was representing or misrepresenting himself as law enforcement.
So again, take a good look at this mother lover's face. He did a very, very terrible, terrible thing. He is 57. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, unless he's not like doing CrossFit and, you know, working out and running and all that stuff, he's 57 years old. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that he old, but I mean, you know, 57 years old, as far as physically like running out here and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, I mean, they might be able to catch up to him pretty quickly. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know how tactical this guy is. You never know. There's plenty of very fit 57-year-olds, okay? Fitter than some of these 21-year-olds that are all jacked up on steroids. But I'm just saying, you know, you just never know. Those factors can, you know, as far as age and all, could slow him down. So we'll see, you know. But this is very odd and very strange. And the fact that he had a car, like he was able to do that, is, I just think it's so wild, right? He was able to either get his hands on a cop car or fake a cop car. And then the fact that he had all the clothes, all the items to make him look like an authentic cop. Like I said, he was cosplaying, which is crazy. It does make you wonder what's actually going on here and how this whole thing went down. And how the police are actually going to get him, because he needs to get got, right? So again, interesting. Okay. And, you know, like I said, I'm not knocking nobody that are, you know, in their late 50s or in their early 60s or just older, right? A lot of y'all, I'm sure, are in great, incredible shape, but still, you know, you just don't know who this guy is. You don't know what his physical background is. I don't know what his background is as well. I mean, he might have tactical experience. He might have outdoors experience. God only knows. But we will see, right? Let us continue on. There's a lot going on, y'all. But down there. Hold on. Just trying to pull this up here. This footage is trash. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I wanted to pull something up, but the footage is not good. Okay? The footage is not good. Let me get this stuff going here. Let's go back. Oh, well, that's still all the speeches and protests and stuff like that. Hold on. Let's take a look. Yeah, all of them are doing speeches right now. Like, hold on, I'm just trying to show footage. Okay, let's take a look at this. All right, we got something. Here we go. And don't forget to hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Okay. Please and thank you. And of course, Rook, thank you so much for being a member for over 21 months. Wow, appreciate the support. What's up, Pascal and family? Love y'all. Hey, we love you too, man. We love you too. Much love to all y'all out there. Okay, all the love to everybody. Real talk. All right. I appreciate you guys being here. Let's take a look at this. This is what's going on in LA still, and it's. Whoa. Okay, something interesting. Let me show this to y'all. This is interesting as well. Some other stuff, some demonstrations, and now we got people dressed up as the Handmaid's Tale. I'm not kidding. I mean, we saw some of that in the in some of the protests that were going on. But let me show this so you guys can see this. But it says dozen of women dressed as handmaids silently marched through downtown Dallas as part of a march of dissent ahead of the No Kings protest against the Trump administration policies. Let's take a look at this. This is interesting. Well, I'm not going to play the music, but under his eye, may the Lord open. Blessed be the fruit. Wow. Wow. That's really happening. Interesting, right? Don't need that, but that's interesting. Worst, by the way, left turn, but the worst series finale, man, very disappointing series finale on The Handmaid's Tale. Just if you're watching it, you're going to be very disappointed. I'm just saying it right now. Okay? If you've been watching that show, the series finale was disappointing as okay? This is Oklahoma City. Take a look at this, guys. So far, everything's peaceful, and that's a good thing. Okay, I am for it all day long. I am for the peacefulness of it. Okay. Wow, this is crazy. Look at this. They I don't know if this is real, but this is a pretty crazy sight to see. If that is real. You never know. Nowadays we live in a world where it's all AI. So interesting though, right?
love you, California. We love you, Minnesota. Here to say no kings, yes to peace, yes to democracy, yes to the power of the people.
There's that. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Hold on, guys. Pulling up more. There's a lot more going on. A lot of people speaking out. A lot of people speaking out.
Also have this No Kings protest.
Let's take a look at this.
And I guess I should say no fascism protest that's happening in Washington, D.C. as well. We'll be checking in with this one after a 2-minute commercial break.
Oh, come on. Shamalama ding dong.
We don't have kings. So now this is going to be my shameless plug to you, Sugarland.
To navigate around as we're doing this. And again, there's another shot that we have in Los Angeles. So as these protests are continuing on all around the country, we'll continue to bring you these live looks and those speakers as they step up as well. So again, as we're continuing to cover here on Live Now, let's go ahead and take this time to revisit the last speaker that was just speaking there as well in Minnesota. I want to put this up on your screen as this has been a No Kings protest that we have been checking in with throughout the day as well. So there's a lot of things going on in a few of these different cities. We're going to take this time, though, to just listen in for just a second to the last speaker who was just speaking in Minnesota.
Thank you. Fight back, Minnesota. Fight back.
This is in Minnesota. Okay, we're going to pause that because there's some live coverage here that I want to share and show you guys as well. Okay, and this is in downtown LA. You know, downtown LA is percolating out here.
Yeah, you gotta get that dude right there, man.
Oh yeah, we got him. We got him.
Crazy.
Sorry, guys.
Stephen Miller's got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Stephen Miller's got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
Excuse me, sir. I'm going to try to get a picture of your dog if you're okay with that. Keep moving. I'll move with you.
I guess you on the news, you can say
Very cool. Let me try to.
You can show that word. Interesting. He's like, I gotta get the dog.
Oh, God. Wish I could get that side.
Got to go. Hey, hey. Oh, oh.
You're good.
Everybody's got to go. Hey, hey. Oh, oh. Everybody's got to go. Hey, hey. Oh, oh.
We're going to continue on. We're going to keep on moseying because there's a lot going on. Okay? There is a lot going on. I mean, you got things going on in Israel and, going against with Israel and Iran. I mean, it's crazy how much is going on right now. So much going on, guys. So much going on. Let me see. Go back to ABC 7 real quick. See what's going on here. Man, there's so much coverage going on. It's freaking crazy. Let's take a look at this. Silent, but we could see that they are not slowing down. Okay? This is not slowing down at all. I don't see this slowing down at all anytime soon. Oh, wow. What is that? A whole life-size version of the Constitution? Wow, that is. They had time today. Let me just be real. They have blimps the shape of Trump, okay, in diapers, okay. Now they have a life-size version, not even life-size. I mean, it's a jumbo-size version of the freaking Constitution that they're just walking down the street with. What is going? This is crazy. This is LA, though. So you never know. Some Hollywood studio probably put the time to make that ish. This is LA. Remember, this is LA, y'all. Okay? A lot of creatives down there. You know, he's creative. He's creative. So again, this is very interesting. No sound. Ain't nobody talking. But like I said, more and more people, as time continues to start percolating, as the time keeps on, as the clock continues to keep burning through, people are out there. LA tonight, I think, is going to be crazy. So you can expect me back on with y'all this evening for sure, just to see what's going on. But again, Immortal Duke, no sound, just vibe out. Just check out all these people, all these souls in one spot. This is crazy. I'm telling you right now, tonight, is going to be nuts. If it continues this way, like I said, unless everybody's like, oh, I got Father's Day to do tomorrow, man. I got things to do, man. It's Father's Day. Then maybe they all leave. Okay? Maybe everybody leaves because they want to go and enjoy their Father's Day. Right? But I don't know. Again, certain parties are seeing the massive turnout. Okay? And now they're going, oh, snap. I need to start packing my stuff up and getting my butt out there because I need to see what's going down. You feel me? So those people who wear all black and start wearing masks and start setting things on fire, they're going to be back out here again. And they might be everywhere tonight, nationwide. Okay? They might be everywhere nationwide. This is, like I said, this is crazy. Crazy. But we're going to continue. We got more to look at, baby. Okay? We got more to look at. It's not done. Nowhere near done right now. Hold on. Let me just course, I'm looking around to see if because there's a lot of speeches going on, which like, yeah, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. They're going to do their speeches, bet. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I want to see what's going on. But let's see. Chief of Police is calling for peaceful
Violence and destruction.
Is calling for peaceful protests. Let's see.
They distract from your cause. Help us ensure that the focus stays on the message and not mayhem.
And there is hope that this stays a peaceful demonstration as it has so far today. And this is not just happening in Los Angeles, although it is happening all across Los Angeles and Southern California. This is a nationwide movement, more than 2,000 demonstrations planned for today across all 50 states.
And video coming into our newsroom just now from Chicago. Take a look. You can see people on the street there in Chicago, the No King's Day sign being held by so many protesters. And a lot of what we've seen in downtown LA and throughout Los Angeles today. Signs, flags, so many people, such a big group of people turning out to participate.
Actually, Rachel, let me ask you something. Why? Okay, maybe I'm behind on something. What's up with this whole boycotting Walmart thing? Can somebody explain that to me? You know, instead of like spamming the chat, you know what I mean? What is this whole what's up with this whole Walmart thing? I'm lost in that situation. I don't know what's going on. What's up with with that? Can somebody explain that to me? Like, make it a quick little comment, and I'll keep an eye on it. But why? Right? Why stop shopping at Walmart? Somebody explain that. Okay, let's continue.
Well, Sophie and Jory, it's become challenging now. As you can tell, this is Figueroa on 5th Street, and you can see the traffic there, and they have to turn, and we're seeing a lot more police mobilization as the police try and keep this crowd in a certain area off the freeway and then make their way back around, it looks like, down Figueroa over to 1st Street, and then we'll go to the left, and we'll show you the crowd. It's heading back towards Grand Park in front of City Hall, but it's splintered into so many areas. It's become a problem. Just a moment ago, we saw about 40 LAPD helicopters heading into some response area where they thought maybe the crowd was going to get onto the freeway.
Okay.
We see a lot of on and off ramps from the 110 and the 101 freeway now being shut down. So unless you're coming to the protest, don't come to downtown. You could get stranded very easily. We've seen a lot of that. Also, as far as travel is concerned, now I would avoid the 101 and I would avoid the 110. The Santa Monica Freeway and the Golden State Freeway are going to be fine. And this,
you realize that they just said about maybe 30, 45 minutes ago, oh, it looks like these specific highways are doing okay right now. And then suddenly now they're like, well, looks like don't use those highways now because everybody and their mama is, look at this. This is not stopping. And I don't have my watch on, but I mean, it is what? About to be 1 o'clock over there. This was supposed to be over at 11, y'all. This was supposed to be over at 11 a.m., y'all. Just saying. It's going to continue to percolate, y'all. Continue.
They're probably going to get set up right in here very quickly. They're not going to let the protesters on the freeway, or I should say they're going to do their best to make sure they do not, because that has been a problem in the past. But the crowd has just been going in all sorts of directions. It does not look organized to me by any means, and there are hundreds of thousands of people. I think it's fair to say we have at least 100,000 people that have come out so far for this protest.
I think by far we're looking at about 1,000 people just outside City Hall, and this stretches at least several miles as they seem to be looping around downtown Los Angeles. Scott, thank you for that coverage. And you're right. Anytime we see people leaving City Hall and moving north on Spring, as we're looking at right there in that gap in that corridor, that could be problematic as they make their way towards the 101 freeway. We hope that their movement stops right about here. You don't know what they have in mind. This obviously doesn't seem like a crowd that is intent on taking over a freeway, but how do you really, how do you mark that? And I guess their actions will do so as they approach the end right there. The overpass on 101, where it was a site of such destruction and confrontation last weekend. Several CHP cruisers just lost under a barrage of rocks and scooters and debris set on fire as they were getting protesters off the 101. So here we have people gathered on that overpass with signs and flags. We'll see how many people join this little gathering here and whether it becomes a problem for the traffic moving on the 101.
Let's check in with Annabelle Munoz live on the ground in downtown Los Angeles. Annabelle, can you tell us exactly where you are right now?
Yeah, we are at 5th and Broadway. You can see the crowd really all around me. And I was telling you earlier that when we got here, we really saw a diverse crowd in every way. We saw very young people, a toddler on her mother's shoulders. We saw also the elderly. I saw a woman who was pushing her walker and making her way to the protest, talking about why it was so important for her to be here. And now I'm joined by a grandfather and his granddaughter. We have Amado and Malaya with me today, here from Los Angeles. Tell me why you decided to come out as a family.
Because we are against what is happening with the Trump immigration policy. It's just, to me, it's inhumane. And I think about my granddaughter, our families here, they're walking around. So that's why we're here. We're here to support. And it's wonderful.
Malaya, what is it like to be out here with your grandfather and with people from all over Southern California?
It's great. I was raised in a very immigrant strong. They go into the workforce and stuff and fight for our people. So it's very much in me just to be here and peacefully protest in the way we can.
Yeah. You know, the theme today of this protest is No Kings, right? As the President of the United States is holding this military parade in Washington, D.C. And at the same time, people are talking about all sorts of issues that have brought them out here, whether it's immigration. I spoke with someone who's here from Skid Row and talked about the need for resources and support in that area. What are some of the things that you're thinking about? Does this No Kings banner or theme also resonate with you?
As a younger person, things like this, we only see it in movies. So it's insane for it to come to life and then see what Trump's doing with the whole birthday stuff. He does truly believe, and I believe that he thinks he is a king. So that's the message we're trying to get across of just we're for the people, and that's what it should be.
Thank you so much for your time to both of you. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want to add? You brought some music out here.
Oh, yes.
Thank you so much. We showed you earlier someone brought a Korean drum and was drumming out here. So music certainly an element of this demonstration, whether it is live music, whether it's the instruments that people are playing or the music over the speakers. So far we've seen, a combination, right? A duality of emotions that people are feeling. On the one hand, they are frustrated, they are upset, they are grieving for what they've witnessed in the last week, especially here in Los Angeles. But there's also this celebratory and community centered message and sentiment that people are communicating to us out here. So a little bit of what we're seeing. I have someone else who approached me. I was mentioning to you that a community member of Skid Row just approached me and said she wanted to talk about why she's out here. Of course, Skid Row is around the corner. We're in downtown Los Angeles. What is your first name and last name?
My name is Detroit Hughes.
Detroit, tell me what you're doing out here today.
I came out here because really I'm looking at the situation that this really is about housing, about being placed somewhere. And I've been off and on Skid Row since 1981. I was 18 years old. I'm 62 years old now. And I'm still part of supportive housing. I came down here because I have a friend that's in housing that's still on Skid Row and one that still lives in a tent. And these were men, okay? And they were terrified. They were scared because they didn't know what was really going on. Nobody goes past Broadway. That's always been the joke about people that live on Skid Row. We don't come up this far. And I came up here to see for myself, but I see today that no matter what you agree with, this is about a housing situation. This is about feeling at home. This is about feeling placed somewhere, the same way that people do on Skid Row. And so I kind of wish that it would have all been combined together, but I'm still here to see that the homelessness issue, we're not alone. We want to be housed too, just like everyone else. And, this is really great. I'm looking at how everybody just came together no matter what walks of life.
Detroit, a lot of people are listening and watching right now. What is your message, whether it is to the public or to the elected officials who represent this area and different parts of California who are experiencing this?
Well, I think that really on a political level, I think that all the head officials need to come together and sit down and not just talk about immigration. You need to talk about housing once again, like I said, because they're not separate issues. We need to really sit down and see what the issue is. What is it that the people need? And I hate to say this, but everybody on Skid Row has a different story, so everyone's situation is different. And now look at the people that are out here, everybody's situation is different too.
I want to point out, this is exactly what it is. It's not just like I was saying earlier. What I asked earlier is like, is this No Kings protest? Is it going to be about specifically anti-ICE? Is this about immigration? Is this about whatever? Is this about just solely the fact that they don't like that Trump is in office? What is this really about? And I think that this is really just like you just said, Nicole B., I think this is a hodgepodge of different issues. And everyone's coming together and being like, I don't agree with some people are there saying, I don't agree with the big, beautiful bill. Some people are there going, I don't agree with the ICE situation and the detaining and the deportation of these individuals from our country. I just don't like him because I think he looks weird, or I don't like him because I don't like his policies, or I don't agree with the administration, or you see what I'm saying? So I think this is all coming to a head, right? And I think even more now because of what happened last weekend, there's been more an emboldening, of more people stepping out because of what they've seen, the demonstrations and the riots that happened last weekend and throughout this week. So it's all just bleeding into today of all days. And then, of course, the fact that they said that they were having this planned out for a while, way before the anti-ICE protests even sparked off, says something as well. People are not happy about Trump being in office. Even when it comes to her, this woman right here, I think her name is Detroit, right? She said, hey, I'm here talking about the issues that I have, and housing is a big problem for me, right? And then she just said, there's people here for immigration. There's other people for certain policies. Some people are not happy about the tariffs. Some people are not happy how he's just running the country, period. So I think it's just going to be a huge, huge cornucopia of issues that people have with Trump. So again, people are showing up and they're showing out, and it's going on everywhere, right?
And is now believed to be on foot. Sources tell the Associated Press he has been identified as 57-year-old Vance Bolter, last seen in Brooklyn Park, where there's now a shelter-in-place order. Sources also telling ABC News that the suspect had a list of names of other federal and state Democratic lawmakers. Joining me now is investigative reporter Olivia Rubin. Olivia, talk to me about how all of this unfolded. We know that there is that manhunt underway right now.
The manhunt is certainly top of everyone's mind in Minnesota right now, finding this individual who you said the Associated Press has identified and looking for him because, as you said, there was a list of other individuals inside of his car that they found. And according to sources who we've spoken to at ABC, saying that there were over a dozen Democratic lawmakers on there. It included high-profile individuals, Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. So they are looking for him. Certainly with great haste, but it's just unbelievable how they came across this individual. As you said, they first went to the Congressman Hoffman's house, and after there were reports of that shooting is when they proactively went to check on Hortman, and they came across that cruiser in the driveway, the official coming out of the door, and they were immediately fired upon. Of course, they have said that this person is impersonating law enforcement. Whether he is still in sort of that uniform or outfit is not really known. But again, the manhunt really, really top of mind right now.
Olivia,
yeah, it's a damn shame because it just doesn't make any sense. Of course, I get it. There's a lot of people that feel some type of way about lawmakers or elected officials. If they're not MAGA, if they're not Democrat, then, they believe that they're a waste of space. But at the end of the day, these people, they shouldn't be losing their lives just because you don't agree with them politically. But of course, we don't know what that manifesto said. We don't know what was behind this. Of course, Tim Walz says this was politically motivated, but it doesn't make any sense. If he has ties to actual Governor Tim Walz and worked in that office, right, in a specific department for years under the Democratic, on the Democrat side, why would he go and unalive these two lawmakers that are also Democrats as well? It just doesn't make any sense. Again, like I said, clearly this is a mental health issue too, but he could change his political views, maybe, or he's just crazy, and that's it. That's straight up it. So it's very interesting. But let me show you a little bit more of this LA stuff that's going on. But then I got to wrap up, unfortunately. But I will be back on in a few hours from now to cover the protests as the sun goes down, just so you guys know, because for a fact it's probably going to go down tonight. Okay, you got guys driving around with bears in their car, and that's totally normal. That's totally normal. See that? You live in Hollywood when guys are driving around with Porsches, okay, driving around their Porsches with jumbo teddy bears sitting next to them. Totally normal. Totally normal. Okay, let's take a look at this.
We can say that. There's a positive spin on it. You got pretty much both sides going on right down there. Get a little gold star by his name. Sure thing. 3 and a 2 and a 1. Skyvox made our way over here to the Huntington Beach area. That's going to be Pacific Coast Highway and Main Street. Now, this is a spot that is traditionally more red than blue, and we're definitely seeing it this afternoon. This is the No Kings protest. We got a little bit of clouds coming in here as well, but you can see right there, that's going to be the pro-Trump area. That's going to be right there at the pier. And on both sides of it, though, that's going to be north and southbound on Pacific Coast Highway, you have the No Kings protest. Now, it all is very, very peaceful. We haven't seen any clashes at all. Not sure exactly what's going on down on the ground, but as far as physically, they seem to be all coinciding, which is a very fabulous thing to see. Again, this is going to be in the Huntington Beach area this afternoon. This is the pro portion, a small portion down there of pro-Trump during the No Kings protest. Again, still very peaceful this afternoon, but you can see those numbers of folks out there. Everybody's getting out there to voice their opinion.
I mean, again, this is going to, I hope this stays normal. I hope this stays cool. I hope it stays calm, but you never know. You just never know. They said that the protest was supposed to end, at least in LA, it was supposed to end at 11 a.m. And they've surpassed that by hours now. Okay. We'll see what happens tonight. But I'm telling you right now, it's Saturday. It's Saturday night. So people have time. People most definitely have time. Okay. So we'll see how this whole thing transpires. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to keep a very close watch on this whole situation. And of course, I'll be back on a little bit later on this evening to cover, what's been going on. Because I know for a fact, as soon as the sun goes down, if it was at all as bad as it was this past weekend or over this past week, it could be much worse tonight. You also got to remember, this is going on all over the country. So I am concerned about the rest of the country as well. It's not only just LA, it's all the other cities that are out there peacefully protesting right now, that as soon as the sun descends, that it could actually descend into chaos. So there's a news conference on News Nation. Well, hold on. Before we go, let me just see. News conference on News Nation. Maybe it's on News Nation on the TV, because I don't see a news conference on here. So yeah, I don't see it on here. So if there is a news conference, that is news to me. One last thing. I'll just check one more thing. Just to see. Yeah, I don't see any protests or any press conferences happening right now. But they've already had press conferences basically telling everybody, please protest peacefully. In LA, they've already put a 8 p.m. curfew, okay, on LA. That could be honored, or it could be disobeyed. We'll see what happens, right? And then, of course, we're going to see with other places, other cities, if they're going to be using certain curfews. But I think it all depends on how the turnout is as the day continues to press forward. Okay, so this is very interesting, but I will be back on a little bit later on this evening. I promise you guys I will. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about, and we need to take a look at all of this. And all I can say is I hope we all just stay peaceful. Everyone keep cool and not use this as an opportunity to enact chaos. That's what I'm hoping for. We just need peaceful protesting, and everyone go home so that they can go and spend time with their loved ones tomorrow, because tomorrow is Father's Day. Okay. I'm sure there's a lot of cookouts that you guys are all looking forward to tomorrow. Okay. So just saying that out loud. But that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. I'll tell you, if there's anything that's going on, I will be on it. We'll be looking into it. Okay. But everyone who's out there and you're watching this show, please be safe out there. Stay safe, stay peaceful. Okay. And leave when you need to leave. Okay. But before we get going, do me a solid. Hit that like button down below. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. Follow on all those platforms. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon and check out PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys? But anyway, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. I'll be talking to you guys soon. Stay safe out there, but I'll see you guys this evening. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.